Hello, and welcome to The Explainer. We're seeing reusable cups and containers everywhere these days. And the idea feels so simple, right? Use it, return it, and do it all over again. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Well, behind that simple act, there's this huge, complex, and mostly invisible system that we're going to unpack today.
Really think about it for a second. You finish your drink, you drop that sturdy cup into a special bin, and then what? Where does it actually go? Who's in charge of cleaning it? And how can you be sure it's actually safe for the next person? It's definitely not magic. It's a whole lot of engineering.
And that journey is exactly what this is all about. We're talking about a package that's been meticulously engineered to survive trip after trip, a web of logistics to get it from you and back again, and a whole rulebook of standards to keep everybody safe. This is the hidden world that makes reuse actually work.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Because to really get this reuse revolution, you have to understand that the container itself, it's only a tiny piece of the puzzle. The real game changer is the system built around it.
So what does it even mean for a package to be reusable in the official sense? Well, it's not just a marketing term. It's actually defined by international standards like ISO. And the two key phrases you gotta remember are managed system and ensures hygiene and safety. If you don't have those two things, you don't have a true reusable package. You just have a durable one.
So let's do it. Let's follow a single container and see what this journey actually looks like. This is where we get to see the whole system in action, this really carefully choreographed dance that takes a package from your hands all the way through the process and back onto the shelf, ready for its next life.
Okay, so this whole journey basically happens in 4 key stages. Step 1, you use the product and enjoy it. That's the easy part. Step 2, you take it to a return point. This is probably the most crucial step on the consumer side. After that, step 3, it goes for a deep industrial strength clean. And finally, step 4, it gets checked for quality and then refilled. This whole loop is designed to repeat over and over again.
Of course, the container itself has to be tough enough for this life, and that means making some smart choices about materials. On the one hand, you've got glass. It's got that premium feel, and it can handle really high washing temperatures no problem. But it's heavy, and it can break. On the other hand, you have advanced plastics like PET or PP. They're super lightweight and pretty much shatterproof, but you have to be more careful with things like wash temperatures. It's all a trade-off.
So how do you measure success here? It's all about rotations or cycles. The whole goal is to engineer a package that can survive dozens, literally dozens, of these trips through the loop without any drop in quality or safety. It has to take a beating from washing, handling, and refilling, and still be perfect for the next person.
Now, a tough container is one thing, but that physical journey is only half the story. The entire system is held together by a strict set of rules, policies, and hygiene standards. This is what makes the whole thing trustworthy.
And one of the most powerful tools in that rulebook is the Deposit Return Scheme, or DRS. Honestly, it's a pretty simple, almost brilliant financial trick. You put a small, refundable deposit on the container, and suddenly people have a really good reason to bring it back. Because think about it, if you don't get the returns, you can't have reuse.
And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. Hygiene is the biggest deal breaker of all. It is the non-negotiable foundation of everything. If you don't have a scientifically proven, validated cleaning process that meets tough government rules, the entire system just fails. Consumer trust is everything. Period.
And that rulebook isn't the same everywhere you go. This table just gives you a quick snapshot of how the US, EU, and UK are tackling this differently. For instance, they all have different takes on deposit return schemes. The one you really want to keep an eye on, though, is the EU's new PPWR, their big packaging regulation. It's setting some really ambitious targets that are pushing major changes.
Okay, so we've got the journey, we've got the rules, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you make these systems actually work, financially? This is where the science of returns and the power of data come into play. So what happens when you get a system right? Well, you get numbers like this. Mature, well-oiled deposit return schemes can get back between 80 and 95% of their containers. That is huge.
It means for every 100 containers that go out, up to 95 come back to be used again. That completely changes the economics and the environmental impact.
So how do they hit numbers that high? It really all comes down to making it incredibly easy for people. You need a deposit that's just enough to make you care. You need tons of convenient places to return it. The refund process has to be super simple, like a quick scan with your phone. And you need really clear instructions so nobody's confused.
Ultimately, for any business, it's got to make financial sense. And the true cost isn't just the price tag on that durable bottle. No, it's that price divided by how many times you can successfully reuse it, plus all the other costs, getting it back, washing it, and accounting for the ones that get lost or broken. The more rotations you get, the cheaper each use becomes. That's the key.
And how on earth do you manage all this? With data. Every single one of these reusable containers has its own digital life. It gets a unique ID, usually a QR code or an RFID tag, that lets the system track its entire journey. Think of it like a digital passport. It manages deposits, checks for quality, and keeps a full safety history.
Now, this all sounds incredibly promising, but let's be real, it isn't foolproof. As we look ahead, the big challenge is scaling these systems up and, more importantly, avoiding the common pitfalls that can make the whole thing crumble.
And these are the big red flags to watch out for. You just can't slap a reusable label on a sturdy bottle if there's no system to actually get it back. You can't cheap out on the materials so they fail after a few washes. You absolutely cannot make the return process a headache for people. And trying to manage thousands of these things without digital tracking, good luck. It all comes back to the system.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. We know how to engineer the packages. We have the tech to track them and the science to clean them. All the individual pieces of the puzzle are here. So the real question is, are we ready? Are we ready to build and invest in and all participate in the complex systems that have to connect all those pieces together? That right there is the real challenge ahead. Thanks for joining this explainer.